to have Dwight Winter here tonight to offer applications.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your goodness to us. You have provided us with so many good things, and we don't want to presume upon your goodness or to take any of your blessings for granted. So we pause now to just say thank you. We also seek for your forgiveness for the ways in which we have missed your plan, whether through our arrogance, selfishness, or the use of our position or power. Forgive us, we pray. Thank you for the system of government we have. Thank you for the men and the women who give of their time and energy to lead us. As the council works this evening, may they follow your guidance and accomplish your good will for the city. In Christ's name, amen.
Dwight, thank you also for scheduling this. I'm sure that's several phone calls.
Yes, sir.
But you've done it for several years, and we thank you.
I'm very glad to. Very proud of you. Thank you.
Okay, welcome everyone, and in case you can't hear me now, you can. Welcome everyone. Our first item of business would be the minutes of August the 4th, and those have been circulated to you. Are there any corrections to be noted? Thank you and thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by aye. A couple of brief presentation reports, and I'm going to take Jackie Waldrop first, and I think we have a couple. We have a fireman here and a former chief here, representing, I guess, the fire department. You had another officer that's not here tonight, is that correct? It was involved?
Yeah, he actually had abdominal surgery, so he's actually recovering.
Okay. Jackie, would you mind just sharing a little bit of what happened and what response there was and why we're grateful you're here tonight and why we're making this recognition tonight?
Well, I'm blessed to be here tonight, and a lot of you I've known all my life, and when I looked around, this brought back a lot of memories when I went to school here, and I think this was the library.
It was.
And y'all got good taste, because I see your picture on the wall over there. That's
Somewhere familiar to you?
Yeah, that's the capital of Wilmore right there.
Gotta go through Wilmore to get to you, I know.
But I appreciate all of you, and me and Harold, we've been friends so long, and he's always been there for me. And a lot of the others, Jimmy, I was telling him, probably part of my problem was spent so many years running around that softball field over there and wore myself out. But I'm blessed to be here. God took care of me. And Judy made my day when she said, in 18 years, you're the first one. And I don't know if that's a good thing to be proud of or not, but this gentleman here and the other gentleman's not here, were professional in their assistance. They came quickly to analyze that I needed to go to the hospital because my oxygen rate was real low and my heart rate was real low, and when I got there, they said it's a good thing I came when I did. So I want to thank everybody that was involved and thank all of you guys. If I don't know you, I've seen you around and about, and anybody from this area is always friends, so I feel privileged to be here. Thank you all.
On behalf of the city, thank you, Jim. On behalf of the city, Chad Wood, would you mind coming up? And I'll get your, who is your other?
Firefighter Jay Moore, firefighter Jay Moore.
On behalf of the city, I want to present you a key to the city for key work done for the city, for a citizen. And thank you very much. Thank you. Jackie?
I didn't know I'd get an award for something like that.
Well,
You're the first one, Jackie.
well, actually, you're not getting an award for being alive. Jackie, has been playing an electric guitar since you were about 8 years old. And one of the things that he does is goes to the Wesley villages of the world and to the Thompson Hood Veterans Center. And anywhere he's invited to go do that, he does. And the pay is probably about like working for the city of Wilmore. But on behalf of our town, we thank you for what you've done for so many, and especially the veterans that he has been. I've been to several of your Elvis
I love
performances
every one of
at
them. I
that,
love
so
those guys over
thank
there.
you very much
I
for
love you too.
all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks all of
He's one of the few guys that can say I love you and it shakes me up.
It's the real deal.
Most of the guys I say back off. Okay, we'll just stop with that. Sorry. I have 3 brothers, and if you know my brothers, we're huggers and kissers against the will of the other 3 all the time. So if they can sneak up on you and give you a kiss, they'll do it. And one of my brothers was in town from Florida this week, and he kissed me on the way to Florida, so that was okay. Second thing I'd like to do is to thank Wesley Village and Glenda Creech in particular. A couple of weeks ago, she gave us a check, and we have decided what was best to do with that is to split that between the fire department and the police department. So, Mr. Atwood, you get to represent your fire department, and Mr. Nelson, you get to represent your police department, and Glenda, if you'd come up, we would like to thank you. She made a donation of $5,000. That's a significant amount of money.
Can I just say one word?
Okay, go ahead.
I have always been amazed since I've come to this town, now about 25 years ago, that we have such a small little town, but it's so effective. I've opened retirement properties all over the United States in much larger cities and all kinds of things. But I can tell you that the police presence and the fire department presence at Wesley Village, we had a fire just last fall, about this very time in October, in the roof of our small home for memory care. And the response time and just the attention and the personal stopping in and checking on us and just seeing the police drive around and seeing the firemen come out, and we're planning a big event with them the first week of October for Fire Prevention Week. We're going to actually create a fire in the parking lot, and all employees will be mandated to pick up a smoke detector, fire extinguisher, thank you, Fire Chief. Pick up a fire, go put it out. But it's fun if you've ever done it, it really can be great fun. But we hope to have that, and then massive fire drills in all levels of the property on campus. We are very, very pleased and very, very grateful, and I would commend this city council and the mayor, and I've said it to him privately many, many times. You all live in a city of nonprofit, faith-based communities who don't pay property tax. I don't see how. I'm amazed that you're able to operate and have the level of fire protection, certainly, and other departments as well, but certainly fire and police are my focus right now. And I thank you all very much for your attention to my seniors.
Would you join us in a photo op with our fire and police?
Okay.
Who are we looking at?
Oh.
I would take her.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Understand you're on the safety department.
Where you running?
I am.
Well, I guess I'm glad that we didn't want the fire.
Glenda, thank you very much,
You're very welcome, sir.
and, you have opened some doors for us, and we're doing the best we can. We actually have, one of our council that's working with our clerk and our financial director. We've identified 91 not-for-profits in this town.
I'm sorry,
It blows your mind, I know.
I cannot imagine.
And working with collecting the taxes that are owed, and then in lieu of taxes, like your gift, how do we manage better and do all we can, so. You don't owe us that, but you gave us that.
I know.
And I appreciate
My tip
that.
of the hat is to this group, and I can tell you, I'm very impressed with the fire and police department.
Well, you'll continue.
When I opened Country Place in the Lafayette, we were literally across the road from Lexington Fire Department, stationed in the bottom there. Literally across the road.
Well, thank you, and we'll continue to try to
And they weren't volunteer.
earn your confidence. I just have one more item, and then we'll get to your business of the night. And I copied that, or Don did for you. That is the timeline for the Lexington Avenue Main Street Sanitary Sewer Extension. I just copied one page out of the report they gave us the other day. It will be advertised on 8/28. The bid opening is projected for 9/18. Bid review and approval takes 7 days to 9/19. Contract award will be 9/26. And construction would be, started by 2/14 and end not later than 6/14/2026. We have to have that project done in 2026 or lose the funding. So, we're trying to make sure that we stay on that schedule and get that done, so. And I'm gonna take one more liberty since I've got the floor and just ask James. James, shared with me last week, James Zweifel, our, most amazing man. He knows so much. But he has been, talking to me, and then today he talked to our directors in our meeting and apprised us of a few things coming down the road, and I felt like the council and public that were interested, could benefit from knowing that. So James Zweifel, thank you.
I just wanted you all to know that, part of the, service line inventory that we did in that announcement went out last November, as part of the EPA, the goal there is to get rid of lead out of all, utilities and water systems. So one of the requirements was a letter that will go out every year in November until it's finished. So the goal is to have it all done by 10 years from now. But part of that we found out and that we will need to be implementing is that anybody that moves into a house that might not have gotten that notification, like an apartment or a house that they're just moving into, if it's on the list of unknown, that we don't know that there's lead there, but we just can't prove what it is, they also need to receive that notification. So what we'll do is we're setting up, here at City Hall, when somebody comes in and signs up for new service, that they will be able to check our list, and if they're on that list and need to receive that notification, they will receive basically the same information that is mandatory language from the EPA that kind of put a lot of people on edge last time around. So what we wanted you all to know up front is that's gonna be happening, and you may receive some phone calls. So just wanted to prepare you, give you a heads up on that, and we're prepared to handle those questions. So nothing new that we didn't have in the previous one, but it just keep going out until we can do our part to get as many of those things off the list as possible. So, any questions on the lead service line inventory?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
But when we got that notice, we just tested the water and it tested no lead in it.
Yes.
Is that, so are we off the hook?
Your water has no lead in it, yes. When it leaves the plant, technically speaking, I believe you live in an older home that the service line may be lead. And until we can prove otherwise, then we can't take you off the list. That doesn't mean your water isn't safe, it just means it's possibly going through a lead pipe. And we put in a product in the water which is called orthophosphate. And that phosphate coats the pipes so that the water can't come in contact with the metal and leach anything out, whether it's copper or lead or anything that would be in the solder joints. So we're doing everything we can to protect everyone, and we do all the testing and that we're required by the EPA. And so, I mean, our testing shows that it's.
And our testing at home
Yes,
showed
correct,
that it's okay,
Yes.
so we don't have to worry about it.
correct.
The house is, I think, 2 years younger than I am.
Which might have been before 88, maybe.
Good, James.
We will eventually be coming to your house, maybe potentially looking at some of the plumbing.
Okay.
Looking in the vault to see if we can see, and then eventually there might be some digging that's gonna have to go on with this over the next 10 years to remove and identify all those lines.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
And the lead pipe, you referenced the service line.
Yes.
Is the service line what the homeowner is responsible for from the city's endpoint?
Yeah, the lead pipes generally are 3/4 inch lines up to about a 2 inch. So anything that's a line bigger than that might have gone to a bigger building would not be lead. And yes, they can be anywhere from the main. The mains would not have it. The corp stops themselves before 88 were made of brass. Brass had a certain amount of lead in them, so those are suspect. Usually what happened is what they did is you've got a line coming out and the corp stop over here, you've got to make some sort of jag. Lead was pliable and they were able to make that. Now we use pretty much copper, or we've gone to PEX or PVC.
But it's part of the
plastic.
responsibility of the homeowner to replace the lead, if they've got a home that was built in the 70s and has lead pipe going out.
They have that
Of their
offer.
main turnoff valve in the home.
Right, we are responsible from the main through the meter. Homeowners generally are from, the meter all the way in through their house and their plumbing. There's a little, this is a document that is changing all the time. There's some look at that the government may want to require that of homeowners, but nobody really wants to go down that
They're
route.
not at that point now.
Yeah, so I can't definitively say, no, we stop right here. But anytime somebody would find it, if it was in their homes, yes, I mean, the recommendation would be to remove it as soon as you can.
Just didn't want everybody surprised with another letter,
There you go.
and, wanted you to be aware of that.
So,
Okay.
James, you
Yes.
had a really great explanation last time, but we didn't have it on camera because it was before we were filming.
Yes.
And so I would love to just have this on record so that when we do post it, everybody can we can calm some fears. There is no lead in the water, in the Wilmore water, in terms of the city's done everything possible to protect the water and to keep it lead free. The issue is older homes and mostly the connection lines. Yeah.
You were correct. You should have been
Okay.
in front of the camera because that was very.
I was just
Yes,
repeating
the
what you
water
said.
The water we are producing, we're taking out the Kentucky River, goes through the reservoir, comes through the plant, and then we're sending it out into a grid. We're pumping it out. Whatever's extra goes up in the towers, comes back out at night, and it's distributed that way. Correct. The water that we're producing does not have lead in it. The mains do not have lead in it. It's just service lines that are making it to the house or potentially in the house in older homes that were made before 1988. That was when the ban went in, and nothing should have ever been constructed with lead lines after that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Told you it was good, didn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we move to the items on the agenda, please. The first item is ordinance 2025-13, an ordinance levying property tax on real and tangible property for the city of Wilmore for the year 25. First reading. Lori is the champion of this, unless you have questions, it's before you for your actions. We didn't actually have an ordinance, we talked about it, but we need to pass it as an ordinance, so.
For the motion, it's in the minutes.
We did? Maybe an error.
Yeah, that should be second reading.
You can change it to a two.
I'm just,
We talked about it, we discussed the rates, I passed out like this sheet, but I hadn't created the ordinance yet. I don't know if that matters, because you all did vote it, I just hadn't like printed the ordinance out, and we hadn't assigned an ordinance number, so it wasn't on the agenda
I think
that
we
way last time.
accepted what we were going to vote on, but we had not put it in its form.
then I move we approve, ordinance 2025-13 for the compensating rate.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Question, all in favor, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is the same, 2025, ordinance levying ad valorem property tax on all motor vehicles, city of Wilmore for the year 26. That's ordinance 2025-14.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Question, all in favor, please indicate by aye. Any opposed? Okay, next item down is sort of a cleanup. We have an ordinance that just identified like 3 streets, I believe. Is that right? 3 or 4 streets that had a fire lane, fire prevention lane. And, that needs to be amended to wherever it's identified as that within the whole community, not just on those streets were originally were Broadhurst, Gale Morris Drive, and East Morrison Drive, were the only fire lanes identified in Wilmore. So we're changing it to all areas that need to be prohibited parking for the sake of fire lanes. So it comes to you as a first reading also.
Is there not a state law that's not my only, I mean, I'm
Probably is.
in support of it, but I'm wondering why we're doing an
We
ordinance.
have to identify those though. I mean, we would still identify where a fire lane is as a city.
So instead of listing where they all are, we're just saying any fire lane you can't park in. And just looking, you're gonna see that it's
It
marked.
would be marked with a sign or red lettering. Correct, Nelson?
Correct.
Where are some of those spots?
There's some downtown, North Maple has one, North Maple does, yes.
Some at the university.
The university has several, I think seminary has several.
Probably need more paint.
Well, I mean, one of the things I've noticed is like outside the old city hall, there's, I think, yellow paint, and people don't park there, even though since it's no longer the police department, it could be parked. And I think it's allowed, it's just part of the yellow is still there, so you just don't see people parking.
I just think that's been removed.
That could be removed and clear white lines drawn in for more parking downtown, but that's not a fire lane that we're talking about. That would be red areas. And so instead of, basically what you're asking for, instead of having to list every place where there's a fire lane, we're just saying, you can't park in a fire lane.
Can't burn a fire lane.
I'll move that.
Thank you, thank you. So discussion of that motion. All in favor, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Are there any updates or reports from the council?
I've got a question, I think 2 weeks from now is Labor Day.
We do not meet on Labor Day.
Okay, so we'll just assume that that's, and we're not gonna reschedule that meeting, so we won't meet from,
We meet the 15th is our next scheduled meeting unless the council calls for a special meeting.
Mayor, could I, if address the council very briefly about the Forest Creek matter. I'm sure you all got my email today in regards to the, communication that was made by one of the citizens of Wilmore to the council regarding the application by Forest Creek for a zone map amendment. That application was heard last week, and a recommendation by the planning commission was made to deny the zone change. That decision on the part of the planning commission is the only decision they ever make that does not have finality. Planning commissions, in terms of zone changes, are just recommending bodies. I think that the theory behind it is that zone changes are of such significance that the final decision ought to be made by the governmental body. And in this case, for the property on 68 that belongs to Forest Creek, that is you all. Now, that recommendation is headed this way, and by statute, KRS chapter 100 says that you all must make a decision within 90 days of that recommendation, or that recommendation becomes final. If no decision is made, in other words, since the recommendation was to deny, if this council did not take any action, 91 days from that recommendation, the zone change would be in fact denied. And that date would then start the appeal time of 30 days, which has nothing to do with you all, but may involve you all if the matter goes forward. The normal process is that a transcript, a verbatim transcript is made. You all have received those on many occasions. Mr. Montgomery was here a couple of meetings ago with one, and certainly one will be made at that meeting, and it will be distributed. My guess is, since we're not meeting on September the 1st, it will be distributed on the 15th. Now, I haven't looked at the calendar, but basically that's gonna be somewhere 35 to 40 days in the 90-day window. So you all are going to have four options at that point in time. One is to accept the recommendation of denial made by the planning commission based solely upon the record. The second is to overturn the recommendation of the planning commission and to, in effect, grant the zone change based solely on the record. The third is to set your own public hearing, and basically you throw out the recommendation, you throw out the transcript, you have a new public hearing, and both sides present their matter just like they did before the planning commission, plus whatever changes and additions they want to make. And the last opportunity or possibility, the one I least support, would be to do nothing and let the recommendation become final by operation of law. That, to me, has always seemed a bit gutless for governmental bodies, but that's your all's call. But the problem that we're going to be in, and this is enhanced because Wilmore is a small community, it's also enhanced because we now live in a world of Facebook. And that is that you all are probably going to be contacted by a number of concerned citizens. Many against, many for. It doesn't matter which side they're on. My strongest advice to you is to tell, if you get texts or emails, just discard them without comment and without reviewing them. If you get phone calls or people stop you on the street, politely say, I cannot discuss that with you. We literally could be in a position where one side can argue that you have to have a public hearing now because you all have received 10 emails supporting the other position. And that is information outside the record, which is improper. I have been either the city attorney or the father of the city attorney since February of 1982. And in that length of time, you all have had one public hearing on a zone map amendment. I will remind you that you stayed in litigation for that for 24 years, but it had nothing to do with having the public hearing. But in any event, I know both attorneys who are involved in this case. I spoke to both of them today. Mr. Scott Schutte from McBrayer represents the Forest Creek, and Mr. Bruce Simpson represents the bulk of the opponents. And both of them are planning to appear on the 15th of September. By that time, you all will have the transcript hopefully delivered. And I'll just go on and tell you, Mr. Schutte is going to request that you all conduct your own public hearing. Mr. Simpson, without question, is going to argue that you should not, and you should make the decision based upon the record prepared before the planning commission. But again, I know it places you all in a bad spot. You don't want to ignore citizens. And texts and emails are more problematic because it's much easier if somebody walks up to you or calls you and starts, you could say, I'm sorry, but we've been instructed by our city attorney, we can't talk about this. Thank you for your time, and really you're not in a position to do all that. Maybe you can by text, but it becomes, or email, but it becomes much more problematic. But again, you all are the counsel for the city you are counsel for, and Wilmore is a very friendly place, so I'm not suggesting for a moment that it's not a bit awkward, but the law is the law, and if we have too much comment from outside, the other side could argue that now you have to have a public hearing because you've kind of tainted the well, so to speak. But that's where we're at, and you all might be thinking about whether or not you want to have a public hearing. I'm not suggesting you make that decision yet because you need to hear from both of these attorneys. They're highly skilled, and they will both make eloquent arguments, I'm sure. But that's coming on September 15th.
To clarify simply the three options. One is we accept the decision that has been made in planning and zoning.
Yeah, that would be to deny the zone change.
The second is we go against what planning and zoning is recommending, and in order to go against that, we must have a public hearing.
No,
Oh,
no.
so
Have four votes, though.
So we just,
But in reality, you are right. The difference, and this is kind of just a unique tweak of the law, it takes a majority of this body, of the quorum present, to pass any ordinance, so,
Right.
to take any action. So normally, let's say you only had 5 people here, you've still got a quorum. 3 votes could accept the recommendation of the planning commission. But to overturn the recommendation, the law says you must have a majority of the entire membership. So that's 4. The reality is, based upon my historical perspective, this body normally deals with controversial issues as a complete panel. So in reality, I think this decision's gonna be made by 7 people, 6 unless you get tied. And, so.
Doesn't matter if we're tied.
Well, it's true. And so then, it's gonna take 4 votes one way or the other. in reality.
That's a good question though. If it's a tie 3-3, does the mayor count as the majority?
Yes,
vote?
yes.
But I thought it took 4 of the council.
Takes 4 of the entire voting membership.
Oh, you changed it on me.
I don't think I did. I'll look, but
I thought it was
no.
4 council members.
Oh, the mayor doesn't vote.
Cause I don't normally vote unless it's a tie.
That's a good question. I'll know by the 15th.
Do you know a good lawyer to call?
I know. We can ask Mr. Shooty and Mr. Simpson.
Oh, I'm sure they'll get it amended.
They can debate it, that is.
So,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, so are there 3 decisions, so 3 options, so again, accept what they
Accept on
decided.
the record.
Deny what they decide with a majority vote of 4,
Right.
4 of the members, or do nothing, which is the 3rd. So where does the public hearing come?
That's your 4 option.
So there are 4, I thought you said there were 3 options.
Well, they're practically 3 because the doing nothing is
I
just,
see.
it's an option, but it's not a good
And we would
option.
only do a public hearing. Why would we do a public hearing?
You would do a public hearing. I don't wanna make the arguments for either side, but normally what is the case is that the side that was not successful during the matter before the planning commission, you can argue they want a second bite at the apple, and I'm sure Mr. Simpson will make that argument in probably a more eloquent way. But the fact of the matter is, they want it is usually the request of the party that did not win before the planning commission. They want to improve their presentation. And I was not present. I had a matter on first on the agenda, and I planned to stay and watch it, but it was about 80 degrees in that room, and I was tired, so I went home. It affords an opportunity, and see, this is what I don't know if the emails that we've gotten today are from people who attended the hearing or didn't attend the hearing. But it would allow for a whole different bunch of people. It could be all the same people, it could be all the same people plus 100 more to come to a public hearing. But it allows for you all to hear the thing live and to hear it as may be modified by either the presenter or the opposition.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And would the public hearing be on the same information that we presented, or could it be brand new information?
Well, it would be the same subject matter, obviously,
But a different
but no,
proposal.
certainly it would have more information.
Can it be a different proposal?
No, it would, could they can't come in with a whole new plan. But could they, for example, it's my understanding that toward the end of the hearing last week, the attorney for the applicant offered to withdraw the, area that was gonna be designated as business. And
That's what I'm asking.
the could they present it to you all only with the 71 acre residential lots? I think they could. I don't know that they will, but I think they could.
Any other questions of the council? Okay. I think we have one other staff report, Ms. Amy. I think you have a copy of it.
Yes, hopefully everybody has a copy of this. We did receive 2 proposals for the splash pad construction. And what I've done is just create a very simple little comparison chart so you can look at that, highlighting the items that I think are the most important, and then you can see if there's any kind of big discrepancies with that. It is my recommendation, and this is also upon with consulting with the mayor and Jeff and Vince and some other folks like that who know things. We poured through those proposals pretty good. But, it is my recommendation that we accept the Play Pros. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those, but I think if you look down through there, particularly at the play area, the third item down, the play area square footage is significantly different, and that's the actual, part of the splash pad that there are, components on and that the water is spraying on.
Do you have any design representations of how they look different? This is more specs on their square footage.
If you want to look through all that, yes, I have all of that.
I can give that to you.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
I would
Look
like
at it right
to-
now, you can have it right now.
Before I make a recommendation, yeah, I would definitely like that.
The law requires us to accept the lowest, best bid, is that what I would understand?
Lowest best bid.
So we are gonna, if we went with the recommendation, it would be with the notion that that was not the best bid.
Per square footage.
It was not the lowest bid.
And per square foot, it is certainly.
I'm sorry, yeah, it was,
bid.
we're not accepting the lowest bid because it was not the best bid.
It was not the best bid.
And arguably, it's not even the lowest bid, if you take either square footage or number of features, it's not the lowest in either category.
And this requires city council approval, is that correct? Because we've already allocated the money.
You'd already got the money to pay for it. We wanted to let the council help make that selection of the company that was gonna build it, if you wanna make that. If you wanna defer it back to the recreation director to make that decision, you certainly could do that.
I guess I wanna know what the legal requirement is.
I think the legal requirement is to take the lowest, best bid. Now, if you look solely at the total dollar versus dollar, there is no question, Play Pros is not the lowest bid. But if you compare it by any objective standard, it is in fact the lowest bid.
Now, I guess I'm confused then. So we've done other projects, Amy's done lots of projects for which we didn't say, this is who's gonna do it. What separates this that I'm not opposed to taking action. I just wanna understand what separates this from pickleball courts, for example.
We're just trying to have as much transparency as we can.
Okay.
With the project.
Was the same specs presented to both companies?
No, so a request for proposal is different from a straight out bid. So we gave them parameters that we wanted within the project, and then they came forward with their proposal, their design ideas. So the designs are very different as well.
Yeah, that's what's complicating it for me a little bit, because, you know, normally, if it's gonna be a bid thing, it's gonna be like this right here for the sewer project.
No two companies have the same
Oh,
components.
I understand.
So, I mean, they may have the same process, but they don't necessarily have the same components. And these don't even actually have the same system. You can see one requires electricity and one does not.
Could you share a little bit more about what you liked about, I mean, is it simply the cost for you, or why did you like one over the other, and maybe what you liked about the design?
Sure. I mean, I think that it boils down to definitely that play area square footage as the number one thing. So if you're looking at that as the 1,365 under Play Pros, that is basically the size of this room. And then if you look at the other bid, which was a good bid as well, however, the play area is right under 600 square foot. So I mean, that's significantly different in terms of, 10 to 11 features in that size footprint, and then expecting 10 to 20 kids to play on that and have room to run around and enjoy said features and whatnot. Also the Play Pros, the actual design that they have, is, I wanna say it's almost like a kidney bean shape, if you can look at that there and pass around. The other is just a straight kind of rectangle area, so I think there's some aesthetic features with that as well. Also, the Play Pros has a different delivery system, and they do not need electric with that, which is a bit of a savings overall going forward operationally, but it's a savings in terms of not having to actually have electric moved and run to the location exactly that we would need it for that mechanics.
And is there a difference, I'm assuming, in what the surface is?
It's all concrete, a brushed concrete finish, which will keep it from being slick when wet. You'll still have some grab there, and that's standard.
And so if I ask this other company, why are you charging so much for so much less? They would certainly argue that they have something better, some advantage. Would they or would they not? Do you know what that is?
I cannot say that. I mean, to me, the play value looks very similar. Yeah.
We had one item was $21,000 in the bid, was for a building. We didn't feel we needed a building. So that was added to the cost of the bluegrass. So there was more money in a building than there was in, not more money, but that took away money for square footage. So those are the kinds of pieces that were different. One had 95,000, I think, in components, and one had 70,000 of their cost to us. So one charged more to put it in, one charged less to put it in. But it's a request for proposal based on what they do, and all of these had references, and all of them have splash pads in Kentucky. But our small committee, felt very strongly about the Play Pros, and it's still within the budget of the 200,000 that we have. We're still gonna have to put a sidewalk to it that is not a part of the cost, but that wasn't gonna be a part of either cost. But we think we can use even municipal aid funds to build the sidewalk to it. So there are some costs, but we won't have to run electric. We won't have to pay a monthly electric bill. This is a newer system with a battery, but, one place you did check, the battery had been working for 3 years maybe, and they had no problem with it. So that's one less thing to deal with is electric. And the building certainly was, we all agreed we'd go buy Lowe's building, much cheaper than we would, and we don't need a building. We didn't see any reason to have mechanicals in a building. They're in vaults in the ground, basically. So what's the building? We don't understand that part, but, so we unanimously within our committee recommended to go with this, but that was our recommendation to the council. So, but she's the one making the recommendation.
And since Jeff is gonna have to be the one to maintain this after it's in, he was on the committee.
Jeff was there. Jeff was in our meeting.
When do you plan on starting? It's like, do we need to make a motion tonight to get it going?
I would like that, and that will give us the largest amount of time to get things ordered. So there's a leeway time for either company in terms of ordering the actual equipment. So you can see that the hope is that it should be completed and ready for an early spring 2026 as the weather is appropriate opening.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept Play Pros for $186,659.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
And I have a question. Can you tell me where they've done?
Where Play Pros is? The closest one to us is Vine Grove, Kentucky, which is just on the other side of E-Town.
And can you tell me who did Nicholasville's?
Bluegrass Recreation.
Is there other question? Question, I'll call for question. All in favor, please indicate by aye. Well, sorry.
We skipped discussion. I'm sorry.
I thought,
Pause.
I thought we had a discussion before we had a motion. But we'll go back to this.
Well, I have some questions. I mean, my
Go
general
ahead.
thoughts are, I mean, this is very little time to, like, I know very little about these two different companies and designs. So it's really just a matter of trusting the process. I definitely prefer a much more natural feature, and we've had those discussions a little bit. I know others have, and people that have spoken to me want something that's a bit less plasticky and chutes and ladders. or that, you know, that style. Granted, I think the one with some more curves is more attractive between those two. I just think there's more attractive natural ones out there. I haven't done the
No
research
one
on it.
bid that
That's right.
in our request for proposal.
What's that?
No one else bid anything different in our request for proposals, and that went out to basically every company that does this.
I see, so there was
We had one other bidder that
no
did
one
not
came
complete.
back with a natural feature.
No one came back with that. And we had a third bidder that did not have the paperwork and never did complete the paperwork. So he had a number, but it was higher than this number, so it didn't matter.
Are there different, age children that they kind of target with each? It's kind of like when you purchase a toy, it says the age range of that toy, right? Between these two, are they both focused on the same age range, and what is that age range?
If you look at the Play Pros one, they did actually detail out, sections of it that are more targeted for, here's a section for younger kids, here's a section for both, and then this section is a little more active for what you would call older kids, you know, the 5 to 10, 11 years. And it should be in one of those papers.
And the other one is just a blanket age of?
They didn't designate anything as such, so several of those play features were very low to the ground, and they were, you know, common sense would say this would possibly be more fun for younger kids.
Are you, either one that's chosen, are you going to be creating some spaces for families or parents to sit under shade, whether that be
Yes.
benches with trees or sunshades of some
Yes,
type?
absolutely. All that will come as kind of a secondary phase, once we get, you know, the exact footprint of what that's gonna look like and everything, and then we'll start to decide what we need in terms of shaded areas, seating, that type of thing as well.
We do have glasses, stained glass pavilion, which is just above it, which is a shelter pavilion that's as close as Nicholasville's is to theirs.
Oh, so it's gonna be on the side of
We're
the
gonna move it on the
stained
other
glass,
side.
the opposite side as the pickleball, or the same
The
side?
far
side.
side of the pickleball courts,
Okay.
yeah. So when you're
So
looking
stained
at
glass
that
will be
property.
below it.
And above it.
Stained glass is, if you walk out our back door, stained glass is straight ahead, and down below is what was the flat soccer field.
Yeah.
So that's where we do our outdoor volleyball, then next is the pickleball courts, and then beyond that is gonna be the splash pad.
I see.
Yeah, it's a nice, big, flat, open area right there.
Who was on the committee?
I don't know that we had a committee per se, but we did
Oh,
have
the mayor
meetings where we
mentioned
went through the,
Well, we had
the
meetings.
proposals.
We did have a community committee early on, and then in the last few meetings, it's been, Jeff, Vince, you, were you here, sir? You were?
I was here for the bidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen them.
James was involved at the director's level. 9 people were in the discussion early on. And then 4, I think, at the end. 5. Thanks. Any other questions or discussion? Ready for question? All in favor of Play Pros, please indicate by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Amy. I know this has been one of those long projects.
It's okay, it's exciting, we get to keep moving forward.
We'll
Thank
move
you,
forward.
thank you all.
So much. Maybe premature, or maybe you've already mentioned, Amy, but we are planning to make another field above, the pavilion. You wanna talk to that?
So again, facing the Dan Glass Pavilion out the back, the open field to the left is very contoured, it's not flat at all, it's a lot of drop. And, the Purdue's Pecco, has very graciously, Jeff has been made contact contact with him, very graciously, offered to come in and cut in and level that to create another flat playing field. That's a very nice donation on their part, and, that will be universally used, but also very, very helpful for summer camp as we lose all of that lower, playing field space.
Thank you both for working through that. That's a tremendous gift to the city. Any other staff reports? Any requests from the floor? Yes.
I'm not really sure how this works. I sit and listen, I don't speak.
Can you come to the mic, please?
Oh, do I have to?
Well, we can't hear you. They want everybody to be heard. Please?
Okay, my name's Pamela Ziegler. Lived in Wilmore since 1996. I have lived at my current address since 1998. Yeah, you're looking at me like you remember me. I have brought this up to several different council members over the 29 years. Yeah, about that. Written letters to the council, spoke to Mr. Bitch. Unfortunately, Mr. Metcalf caught my anger, coming to my house. I've spoken to different of you when you've come to the house during the election, about the traffic and the speeding on Butler Boulevard. That is my home, that is where I live, I've raised my kids there. Vince is actually my neighbor. Skip a house, there's Vince. I have asked all this time, something's got to be done. Each year it gets worse. I raised a deaf child. I asked for help. Oh, we'll look into that. My deaf child's 35 years old now. The more people are moving into Wilmore, more people are using Butler Boulevard as their cutoff, or their cut between, or their go-between. It sounds like I am freaking living on I-75. Matter of fact, last night, 1:30 a.m., a black car, too dark for me to tell what it was, came too fast, didn't make the curve, used my yard as his drive, bumped off at the neighbor's driveway to get back onto Butler Boulevard. If you are actually driving the speed limit, which is actually 25 miles per hour, you're in danger. They will try to pass you with oncoming traffic coming at them, which means you're getting veered off the road. When you pull into your driveway, they will come up on your rear end so fast, you're fearing getting hit. If you're pulling out of your driveway, you better do it with haste, because they're going to T-bone people. If the few times I have, stopped people, please, this is my neighborhood, this is where I live, I have children, I have grandchildren. I get, one lady, almost got me going across to check my mail. I don't have a mailbox on my home, I have a central mailbox where, there's 20 of us, we gotta go with the key. She about gets me, and 10 years ago, I had a stroke, my right leg is just numb. There is no scoot boot in this boogie anymore. Of course, I'm yelling at this lady. She gets out and taught me words I didn't learn. But then sends her teenage boys back to my home to harass me for days on end. I actually had to call the police because they were threatening to beat up my grandchild. The other day, I get run off the road by a little green car that looks like a box. She's got a car full of kids, not one of them in a car seat, not one of them seat belted down, but she wants my Jeep out of her way because I am not speeding on the road. But she's yelling at me to get out of her way. My daughter has been run off the road. I live right next to the field on Butler Boulevard. If you're driving this road and you're driving slow, you're in danger. If you're trying to, our neighbor, Janet, I watched her almost get hit trying to go to her mailbox. I watched her almost get rear-ended by a black Escalade because she didn't turn into her driveway fast enough and then didn't have to slow down. Normally, when I have brought this issue up, Unfortunately, Mr. Metcalf came to my house asking for my vote, and I chewed him on one side and on the other. Because I have asked over the years, if you came to my house, please do something. Nothing gets done, so I swore I wouldn't vote for any of you guys this year. None of you. I was mad at you. Mr. Metcalf let me know that he was new and I didn't need to chew him out. And as he is standing there with me in my driveway, he witnessed 7 cars speeding by. 2018, I had a 138-pound Great Dane. This dog was trained to help me after my stroke. At that time, I had to walk with 2 canes and I needed a lot of help, and this dog was trained that if I go down, he stays with me, or he bumps me, keep me up. If I go to stumble in the road or whatever, bump me. Well, he took that up on himself, and he should do that with my granddaughter as well. So I have a 4-year-old granddaughter at that time who decides, Mom's leaving, I don't want Mom to leave, I'm gonna run out the road. Bo goes after her, knocks her out of the path of the truck, and the truck kills him instantly. 138 pounds. I guarantee that's more than you weigh. Okay, you're not bigger in a minute, so you don't weigh much. That's an adult. That's a grown teenage kid, and he was killed instantly. Unfortunately, the Wilmore police officer that happened to come by one night, we couldn't say Bo, he took my wrath. Had Bo not knocked Annabelle out of the way, that 40-pound kid would have been dead. Instantly. This gentleman still drives the road, and he still drives like he stole it, knowing he killed such a big dog. Something has to be done. Now, I know I've talked to Ms. Dyer and Kim about it before when she was on the council. According to her, she's had studies done. You know, stop sign would slow down the traffic of, you know, Kim didn't tell me this, someone would slow down the traffic because it's a main thoroughfare. Speed bumps takes us away from the city of being able to scrape the roads during snow. What I'm hearing as a resident, and like I said, Vince is my neighbor, he can, I don't know if you notice how bad it is. It is, but by the time you get to Vince's house, you see the red lights light up like Christmas. Vince and I are right in the middle of Butler Boulevard, so we're, what I feel like I'm being told is, so what? I purchased my house on a dead-end road. It did not lead to Butler Boulevard. I was on a dead-end road. In the meantime, it opened up, which at first I thought, awesome, I don't have to drive all the way around town. But then I realized this is not awesome. Each year it's getting worse. Each year we're getting more and more people move here. When this splash pad opens up, I'm terrified of it because they'll use Butler Boulevard to cut across town to get to the splash pad. This new apartment complex that was supposed to be built at across from the school, that's gonna bring even more traffic down Butler Boulevard. And where I'm told Butler Boulevard is the main thoroughfare connecting 2 streets. It is my house, it is my residence, it is my home. It is a residential street that I should not be scared of. But I am now scared of it. My neighbor is now scared of it. My daughter, who swore she was moving 1,000 miles away from me, moved 300 feet. She's scared of it because of her children. So instead of me yelling at Mr. Metcalf, yelling at an officer or whatever, I'm asking you please, pleading with you, do something. We vote for you guys to act on our behalf, to listen to us, to make votes on our behalf. Those of us who live on Butler Boulevard, we matters of anybody else. And most of us have been there forever. There's not many new people that I know. Most of us have been there forever. We're about as old as our houses are. Actually, yeah, I'm about there. We need help. I'm to the point of putting up a big old sign saying, if you hit me or my kid, you're gonna need an attorney, because I'm going to go backcrack crazy. It's dangerous. It is super, super dangerous, and they're not going 5 over, they're not going 10 over. There's a kid, 25 years old, he drives a white quad Chevy with a vented tailgate. That's got to be his daddy's truck, cause nobody paid that much money gonna drive that fast. He pulls a boat, fly. He pulls tractor trailer, or not tractor trailer, I'm sorry, trailers with lawnmowers, fly. I've asked him to slow down. No, he's not going to. I'm sorry, Mr. Stroud, but the cops don't care. Call the cops, they don't care.
They do care. I'm not
This is
I'm
what
not
they're
gonna let
telling.
you tell us
No,
that.
no, this is what this
They
board
do care
told
and
me.
they do their job.
I know they do care,
They're not
and I
doing well
know they
enough for
do.
you, and I will see that you have more surveillance over there, but to attack our police.
I'm not attacking them,
You
I'm
did,
not,
you
no,
did.
I am repeating what this boy told me. This is what the boy told me when I asked him to please slow down. That's what he said, the cops don't care.
Well,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
believe they don't care. That's why
Thank
I was
you.
apologizing to
Thank you.
Mr. Sherrod before I said that. I don't believe they don't care. I do believe they're ignored. We have 2 police officers on my street today, right across the street from me. And not one of them slowed down. I mean, I see a police officer, I'm checking. I'm not a speeder, but I'm checking. Not one of them slowed down for him. I take that back. The Wilmore, someone came by in a Wilmore truck and he was very slow. But the regular patrons did not. They saw both officers there and didn't slow down. And
Thank you,
I am
and-
not saying they don't care, because anytime I've called, they're there. Anytime I've needed them, they're there. This is what the young boy was telling me,
Okay.
that they don't care.
We do
And
care.
I know they do care.
We
but I-
do care. We hear this a lot, and we have 2 main streets in Wilmore that get this, and we care a lot. And we will do what we can do to make it safer. I make you that promise.
So what can we do? I mean, can we look into stop signs, something that keeps them from,
Well, that man heard everything you said, and I meet with him almost every day. So we'll be talking. And he's the chief.
one thing I want to say, if I'm right on the front, any council member who thinks I'm exaggerating, who doesn't think that I'm just, crazy lady, I got a really big front porch.
I had a daughter that lived there on Butler, and they did go too fast. She always thought, Dad, they fly over here. I understand what you're saying. It is a cut through for a lot of people. And we'll do a better job than we've done, but we do care.
Oh, I don't doubt it, I'm just asking in
We do
person
care.
instead of writing letters.
We love this town, and we love everybody in it, and we do care, and we'll try to do better.
I
That's
appreciate
all I can
that.
tell you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Anybody who wants to witness it for themselves, I got a big porch, I got nice new chairs, I make great coffee, I make great iced tea.
Might come see you then.
Come sit on my
Take
front
good
porch and watch, you'll notice.
coffee. We do care. Anyone else?
On the tales of we do care, I really do believe that all of you do care. I would like to encourage you, I don't even know what Forest Creek is, or anything about the subdivision that you're talking about, or whatever. But, all of this is in my opinion, of course, and I am not going to name the specific situation that I am talking about, but I wanna encourage you to care enough to have a public hearing. I personally was denied a public hearing. I came and I sat over here, and Mr. Gullett said that we'd only had a public hearing once. You guys received I'm a little taller than that. You guys received, I've shrunk and I'm a little taller than that. You guys apparently received the transcripts. The comment was made at that hearing, at this meeting, council meeting, not hearing, that, you had not had enough time to read completely through all of that information. The comment was also made that it required a password to get into, and so that information was not able to be looked over by at least one of the 4 people who were voting. So you didn't even really know what was going on. You were just trusting. If you had taken the time to have a public hearing, or to even read through the transcript, you would have noticed a lot of things. Number one thing you would have noticed is that it was recommended to the city council by the zoning and planning board one of the council members said, can we recommend it to them to have another public hearing? And he was told yes. So you were told, we haven't had public hearings, I recommend we don't have one, and it was recommended to you in that transcript that you did have a public hearing. Something else that you would have, and of course all of this is in my opinion, that I do have paperwork, I do have a copy of the transcript, I do have a copy of paperwork from my lawyer, from my realtor. Another thing you would have noticed is that the applicant was granted 3 postponements by the Zoning and Planning Board. One in December, one in January, where they asked not to be charged whatever kind of fees, I don't know what they were talking about, but, one in March. Then in April, I called the Zoning and Planning Board and left a message to make sure that we were going to meet, and that it wasn't going to be postponed again, because it had already been postponed 3 times, and of course you have to pay your law to go and all that sort of thing. In April, I was told by the Planning and Zoning Board that they had chosen for another postponement. So that's a grand total of 4, okay? I spoke to this at the Zoning and Planning meeting, okay? I requested a postponement based on the fact that my lawyer was having vision problems and was unable to be there. That was a lawyer, I had already paid 2 lawyers, one because it got postponed so many times, and then the second one because the first one was going to be out of the country and couldn't come. He wasn't able to be there, and I was denied that postponement. So they received 4, I received 0. Had you been able to have time to look through that transcript, you would have known it was unfair. Like, to me, in my opinion, that is very unfair to give one person 4 postponements and another person 0. In particular, I mean, you have to pay these lawyers to go, so, you know, which is fine, because, you know, that's what you're paying for, but still. Another thing that you would have noticed is that there were several false accusations made against me that I stood up and said are false. I can prove that those were false accusations. One of those accusations is that I refused to tender the deed. Not only did I not refuse to tender the deed, I had a letter, and I have copies of this, I just happen to have in my car, they're bent because they were in my car. But I have a letter from my lawyer to the applicant's lawyer stating not only did I not refuse, but I requested several dates. Their first lawyer did not respond. She ended up being in Costa Rica. When my first lawyer talked to that lawyer, when she finally got back and they confirmed a date, myself and my whole family, because my brothers had to go too, and our lawyer, were fine going, but she confirmed so late that the lawyer's office couldn't accommodate a room to meet in. But I never refused, but I was accused of that at that meeting, okay? Another thing that I was accused of was causing them not to be able to build earlier and costing them money. They never made an application till November. They never requested the deed. When we signed the land contract and all that, and again, this is witnessed by at least myself, both of my brothers, my husband, but more importantly, because they're all family, right? More importantly, by the realtor, who felt strongly enough about it to go and speak on my behalf at that zoning and planning meeting. You guys probably didn't even know that. It was in that transcript that you didn't have the password to access. So the way I was treated was never, I know you care, and I know you would have wanted me to be treated fair. Being treated unfairly is my opinion, and all that other is my opinion, but like I said, I have documentation. You also would have noticed that I made the comment several times that what was being presented originally and what was being presented in this strategic vision plan was not in line with the conversations that we had. The conversations that we had were a few homes, basically adhere to the, the culture of the land, you know, the historic, the environmental culture of the land, because we have white storks out there, we have, red-headed woodpeckers, we have great blue herons, we have hummingbird moths, we have tons of hummingbirds, we have lots of wildlife that, for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know if you guys see all that around town, but I'm quite surprised every time I see the white stork, because, you know, and the blue heron, even though he's not my favorite, because he gets the goldfish out front paw, the koi, he's not my favorite. But, you would have noticed in that transcript that my realtor felt strongly enough about that fact, and that I wanted to present the January transcript where the person representing them admitted to those conversations, and that is in the January transcript, where that person talks about, yes, we had these conversations, and I wanting to assure me that that was what it was actually gonna be. At the same time, in January, on the plan was a 10,000 square foot medical facility with 60 some odd parking places, was not a few homes. Water under the bridge, yes. I believe that God has a plan. I trust God. That's just the way that is. I also would have, had I been allowed a public hearing, I would have presented new information. So by having a public hearing, if you do that for, what is it, Forest Creek, is that right? Whoever they are, you give them a chance to present new information. The new information I would have presented to you is that at the zoning and planning meeting, I mistakenly said that it no longer retained the title of a bicentennial farm through the Kentucky Historic Council. After that meeting, I reached back out to them because the response I had gotten from them was kind of back and forth, and I had that in an email and I can print that out. But the next response I got from him is that it actually does. There is no way to remove that title from that land. That title was granted in 1998 when my uncle applied for it. Apparently, I didn't even know about it until, gosh, I don't know, maybe March, something like that, was when it came to my attention. But I could have presented that information. Would that have changed your mind? I don't know. But it would have at least made me feel valued enough to have my opinion heard. As it was, being denied a public hearing was like, not only are we gonna tell you one thing and then acknowledge we said it and do whatever we want with the land, and apparently put a guard shack within that right of way, but there's nothing you can even say about it. We don't even wanna hear how you feel about it. As you most of you already know, my brothers forced me into the cell, but let me be very clear. I was legally, I had to sell, I got to choose who I sold to. I made that choice based on what I was told, and then it was not adhered to. That is very upsetting. That is, I don't even know the words because it's not how I was raised. It's not how Wilmore is. It's not how I believe Wilmore to still be. I believe Wilmore to still be a godly town. But when you allow one person to have the keys to the city and do whatever they want, and say whatever they want, and then another person is even denied the opportunity to have a public hearing, what message are you sending? I don't believe any of you realized all that or wanted to send that message. I believe that you genuinely care about this town because you're here, you show up, you do the work. And you're not getting paid much of anything, if anything, to do the work. It's like teaching. It's a service. And I know you have to care. I didn't want to come here tonight. I wanted to watch Jeopardy. First Jeopardy, News, Wheel of Fortune, second Jeopardy. So I know that you have other things that you want to do. And I appreciate and value each of you and your service. But like I said, I would just encourage you to make sure that you're taking the responsibility, because it is a huge responsibility. Take the responsibility serious enough that you are reading the transcripts, you are researching, you are listening to people, not just one side. I don't know if I've read everything on here, that's all I have to say, thank you.
Anyone else?
May I say something very trivial? Would it be an option that all of you turn your microphones on when the meeting starts? Because usually the microphones are off when you speak. Would that be an option that they stay on?
We can do that.
I think there was one concern, we could definitely try that. I think at one meeting, we were concerned that if two mics were on,
It would.
if two mics were on at the same time, they might do a little bit of feedback, but, I don't think we've ever had it.
Because very few of you actually turn it on, so.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder.
Thanks for pointing that out.
And we
Yeah.
will
That way you can hear me.
try different ways to do it, make sure it's heard. That's the whole point of it. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Okay, just one quick thing. I just want to say thank you to the sidewalk committee and to city council for putting aside money for sidewalks and helping make our town safer for walkers and folks in wheelchairs and just more accessible. So I just want to say thank y'all.
September 1st, we hope to begin to roll that out. Anyone else? Thank you all for coming tonight.